Australia's Energy Transition Blueprint, the 2024 Integrated System Plan, is officially dead. The coroner's report was provided by none other than the federal and state energy ministers. This report, which detailed the findings of the minister's ISP review, was kept hidden from the public for 10 months and only came to light during the recent Senate inquiry into energy planning. The review's findings were damning, and the report confirmed what we already knew about many of the flaws that ultimately killed the 2024 ISP. I'll take you through 5 of the biggest nails in the ISP's coffin. But first, some important context. The ISP review was not independent. It was led by the state and federal energy ministers who relied on targeted stakeholder feedback with no public consultation, so expect to see a lot of sugarcoating in the findings. Now, the Energy Market Commission was supposed to complete an independent review by July this year, but Energy Minister Chris Bowen asked them to delay it for 2 years and they agreed. So all we're left with is this sugar-coated government-led review, but not even the government can hide the fact that the ISP is well and truly dead. The first nail in the coffin? Uncosted consumer energy resources and distribution network upgrades. The 2024 ISP assumes consumers will foot the bill for massive amounts of rooftop solar, home batteries, and EVs that will be made available to support the grid. But as the review clearly states, the ISP does not identify the steps needed to get there, such as generous government subsidies, nor does it identify the relative costs and benefits of CER compared to large-scale generation, storage, and transmission. The review labelled this a problematic limitation of the current ISP. That's government speak for, we have no idea if this plan is optimal or what any of this will cost. AEMO also assumes the existence of the distribution network upgrades necessary to support the ISP's very high levels of CER penetration. But the ISP can give no indication of whether such upgrades will occur in time or what they will cost. All of this means the 2024 ISP's claim that it finds the lowest cost way to get to net zero is completely unfounded. Uncosted CER and distribution network upgrades are something we've been flagging as a multi-billion-dollar problem long before this report was released. You can check out this video for a full explanation. The second nail in the coffin: ultra-flexible hydrogen assumptions. The ISP relies on large volumes of hydrogen production to soak up excess solar power in the middle of the day before ramping down in the afternoon to help the grid get through the evening peak. These ultra-flexible hydrogen plants are assumed to grow to around 8 gigawatts by 2040, representing a third of grid demand, and a massive 15 gigawatts by 2050. As the ISP review highlighted, AEMO treating hydrogen as an exogenous element that is just magically there to help out can cause internal inconsistencies. That's government speak for, this model completely ignores reality. If electricity is too expensive, hydrogen plants won't be built, but the ISP model is relying on hydrogen plants being built to improve the business case for solar and make electricity less expensive. It just doesn't stack up. And despite billions in subsidies on offer from the federal government, a staggering 99% of the announced capacity of hydrogen projects has failed to progress beyond the concept or approval stage. If industry players aren't willing to bet on hydrogen, then the plan underpinning the future of our energy system shouldn't either. The third nail in the coffin: unrealistic gas requirements. The ISP review states that the cost of the gas infrastructure necessary for the ISP's renewables plan to work has not been integrated into the model. The ISP does not ensure these gas developments are least cost, likely to occur, or even commercially feasible. That's government speak for, this plan will give you a system that is unreliable and we have no idea how much it will cost to make it reliable. Our gas pipelines simply will not be able to deliver the supply required by peaking gas plants in a renewables-dominated grid. Modelling performed by energy experts Paul Simshauser and Joel Gilmore shows that if Australia relied on peaking gas the way the ISP does, we'd face significant shortfalls in the late 2030s. These shortfalls are caused by surging maximum demand, pipeline constraints, and episodic demand shocks, which the gas system is not designed to handle. AEMO CEO may claim that the 2024 ISP has found the lowest cost path for secure and reliable electricity, but the government's own review and independent modelling confirm this is simply not true. The fourth nail in the coffin: we don't have the workforce to deliver all of the ISP's recommended transmission projects on the timeline AEMO has declared necessary. The ISP review pointed out this lack of available workforce as one of several factors affecting the timely delivery of ISP projects. That's government speak for, we don't have enough workers to build all of these projects in time, and we don't know how much that will increase costs. In fact, AEMO commissioned a report that quantified the workforce requirements of its plan, and the results were telling. To achieve the plan set out in the ISP, we'd need to almost double our electricity workforce in the next 5 years, and triple the number of electrical engineers. Engineering jobs would then fall below current levels in the 2030s. This kind of workforce volatility is pretty much unheard of outside of wartime and creates a high risk of skill shortages, which heighten the risk of delays and cost increases. And the final nail in the coffin: unachievable government targets being taken as gospel truth. Policies like the federal government's 82% renewables by 2030 target are locked into every scenario in the ISP without question. You can check out this video to find out why modelling targets this way is such a big problem. Now, this critical flaw in the 2024 ISP was not raised as an issue in the ISP review. Unsurprising, given the review was directed by the very energy ministers who chose the targets. They'd want AEMO to take their policies as a given. But if we read between the lines, the circular logic becomes obvious. The review states that policymakers rely extensively on the ISP for jurisdictional planning, but jurisdictional policy developments are a key input to the ISP. That's government speak for, who cares about reality? What we need is an ISP that tells us what we want to hear. But it didn't have to be this way. The ISP authors could have preserved their role as independent experts. Instead, they chose to give it up in favour of doing the energy minister's bidding. This was revealed in an email we obtained under Freedom of Information, sent from an AEMO staff member to staff at the Federal Energy Department. The email confirmed that AEMO's initial intention was to treat the renewables share as a free variable in the model, which would mean the virtually unachievable 82% target would not have been taken as gospel truth in every scenario. But AEMO revised their position to include the 82% target as a binding constraint in all scenarios. The worst part of all this is that AEMO has claimed time and again that their hands are tied and they must bind all scenarios to all targets. But they only changed their mind after department officials expressed a preference for how they model this target. As branch head Kim Collins wrote in an earlier email, the Energy Department's preference was for the target to be included as a policy commitment in the Inputs, Assumptions and Scenarios report. This is the report outlining all the inputs to the ISP. Only after the government expressed a preference did AEMO change their original plan and bind every scenario in the 2024 ISP to the government's unrealistic 82% renewables target, the exact inverse of what they'd previously advised. This destroyed any value the ISP could have provided in helping us plan for the future. The 2024 ISP is well and truly dead. I think it is time everyone accepted this tragic loss and moved on. AEMO has failed to provide Australia with a plan that is optimal, independent, reliable, or least cost. This report should not be used to prove anything about where our energy system is headed or what investment decisions we should make. But can the ISP be resurrected? Well, that depends on whether AEMO and the rest of the energy bodies are willing to do the work to fix the many flaws that have poisoned the analysis. Superficial fixes will not work. A complete overhaul is required. AEMO is currently consulting on the draft inputs to the next ISP due for release in 2026, and they seem determined to poison their modelling once again with many of the same mistakes as before. If we are to have hope of resurrecting the ISP in 2026, AEMO needs to get to work now on fixing the ISP's fundamental flaws.